Well, hello everyone. Let's start our today's lecture. How to control nocturnal pollutions and sexual faults. Well, uh, the fundamental here during all our daily process of purification is to achieve the perfect chastity. We may achieve perfect chastity with the psychological death, the elimination of each one of our psychological defects. That's the best way to decontaminate, to purify our own sexual creative energy. Right? Also, there are some things, some aspects that we'll be studying today during our lecture, and those aspects are making us to lose it, right? To lose our chastity. And to make it stronger, that fornication inside of each one of us. For the process of the self-realization, it's crucial, it's essential to achieve our perfect chastity, right? Now let's start the explanation, first of all, about nocturnal pollutions. To understand better, since the beginning of our today's lecture, what is it? Well, when we talk about nocturnal pollutions, it's an spilling of sexual creative energy while we are sleeping, while we are dreaming in the fifth dimension. Right? Let's make a fast graphic, a fast image about it, how it works. This is our physical world. Laying on our bed at night, right? Through the silver cord, we have the connection between this physical body and our embryo of astral body, right? Which is exactly the same. It's the same image of our physical body, but in a molecular way, in an astral way, right? Here we are in the third dimension, in our physical world, but right there while we are sleeping, dreaming, in that astral world or molecular world or the zone of dreams, we are experiencing with consciousness or without consciousness different type of events in the fifth dimension. Well, many times during our lives, we may experience different types of erotic dreams, all right? Due to the fact that we don't have consciousness usually right there into the fifth dimension, that astral body, this embryo of astral body, produce specific vibrations that immediately go into the physical body. All of us, men and women, have lived this specific type of experience. All right? So unfortunately, while the physical body lies down on the bed, the physical body receives this specific type of erotic vibrations, infrasexual vibrations, and they produce the spilling of the energy, right? This is another form of fornication. When we talk about fornication, we're talking about taking out our own sexual creative energy in a heterosexual intercourse due to masturbation or due to also these nocturnal pollutions, these inner experiences in that fifth dimension. Alright? So unfortunately, we've lived this type of erotic dreams that produce the spilling of the energy on the male or female physical body. Alright? That's what a nocturnal pollution is. Now, if we seriously and honestly want to finish, want to delete, to eliminate the psychological defect of nocturnal pollutions, alright? All the psychological effects of fornication, those ones produce sexual falls here in this third dimension, in this physical world. It is necessary to study, to analyze different aspects, different facts that have been producing different types of spillings of energy that at the same time produce frustration, like a block during our own process of the self-realization, right? Let's start since the very beginning of the process, since the origins, how to control nocturnal pollutions and sexual falls, right? Let's go. Well, the first aspect to analyze, to study, to reflect on is the one called transformation of impressions. It's basic transformation of impressions, learning to achieve it. It's a long process where we need infinite patience, literally, right? If we learn gradually, this is a process of gradual comprehension, of gradual reflections, will control our nocturnal pollutions, being or not being single, and our sexual falls to enter in the process of sexual alchemy, the transmutation of sexual creative energy successfully. Alright? Now, when we talk about transformation of impressions, we receive different types of impressions externally daily, right? Visual impressions, tactile impressions, right? When we, for example, smell something, there is another different type of impression, right? When we bring air through our nostrils, this is a different type of impressions, and so on, right? These type of different impressions, 5 different impressions, are intimately associated with the 5 senses. The 5 senses of the human machine. right? When we hear something, when we taste something, we are as well receiving different types of impressions, all of them from the external world, right? Now, to transform visual impressions, right? For example, all related with sexual desire, pornography, a naked female or male physical body, when we touch the physical body of our couple or another person, all right, by accident, for example, because that's possible as well, we are receiving some specific type of transformations, of impressions, excuse me, all right? If we are in a correct inner state, and in this case is always self-observation, we may detect immediately, thanks to this objective and correct inner state, the different reactions, psychological, sexual, emotional reactions that arise from the inside. Right? With the self-observation, with this correct inner state, we are not anymore human machines, but conscious people. Right? So it's possible to detect our sexual desire, our lower emotions, all those sexual thoughts as well, for example, and so on. Alright? So this way, when we make this, when we go one step ahead of the external impressions, and it requires self-observation from instant to instant, or at least as much as we can, it's possible to definitely detect all these inner reactions, subjective elements, okay, that control our mind, our psyche, our sexual center, our intellectual center, our instinctive center, our lower emotional center, in order to analyze the inner reaction and immediately, as fast as we can, place the inner petition to our Divine Mother to delete it. Inner petition to the Divine Mother, to our particular Divine Mother, is the way to transform external impressions. All of them, without exception, are intimately associated with each one of the five senses of the human machine, right? With those five senses, we may have a nice and correct interaction with the external world, with the people that is around us, with the society, all right? And in fact, for sure, if we don't learn to transform the type of impressions we receive, if we receive them mechanically, definitely there will be an accumulation of inner sexual desires, sexual thoughts, lower emotions, instinctive emotions associated with sex, and unfortunately at night we are going to practice sexual intercourses with different people in the astral world. Alright? Remember that at night, in the astral world, in the zone of the dreams, there are different types of people, of entities. Alright? Even witches, lizards, also authentic divine hierarchies. Right there, over there, while we are dreaming, while we are sleeping, there are different types of people right there observing us. Alright? But if we learn to gradually put ourselves in this inner state, the next step to transform that violent external impression is the inner petition to our Divine Mother. My Divine Mother, please delete me this sexual desire, this fear, this lower emotion associated with sex, and so on. Alright? That's the way to control nocturnal pollutions, because we don't allow ourselves to accumulate all those inner sexual desires due to these external impressions that produce more creations of different types of psychological defects. Will govern ourselves right there in the fifth dimension. Well, that's the first aspect to analyze. That is the first aspect to reflect on. In order to achieve, to find, to deserve, even to deserve our own inner comprehensions, when we finally and seriously comprehend anything in our lives, the change from inside goes natural, spontaneous. To finally comprehend anything in life, specifically the mysteries of sex, the movements of the sexual desires, in each one of the 49 levels of our mind, is necessary to analyze them first, to reflect on them first, and then gradual comprehensions will be a fact. Alright? Now, this is the first aspect to reflect on. The aspect of transforming the impressions. This is essential. This is essential to balance our magnetic centers. Analysis about all those type of external impressions we receive daily, because it'll help us a lot. It'll help us a lot, more than we think, more than we believe, in our inner process. Right? In the case of us men, for example, if we see an amazing female physical body full of beauty, it's necessary to analyze that lady. Okay, the most important thing in that lady is not her physical body, but her level of being. Her spiritual level is the most important thing. Number two, or second, probably they already have a couple, she already has a couple, alright? Probably at the same time, both of us are a recurrence, alright? Within the next 30, 20, or 40 years, she gets older, alright? Beauty passes, physical beauty passes, but the level of being is something permanent, is something crucial, essential, is the most important thing in life. When we talk about human people, human beings, that's the unique, important thing, alright? So this type of fast analysis, inner reflections, immediately give us the transformation of the impressions. And then the inner petition for our Divine Mother, when we detect the type of psychological defect that is governing us, will establish the center of the magnetic, the balance of the magnetic centers of our physical body, right? And gradually our astral experiences will be with more and more consciousness. It's been told here something. Do not believe me. Please prove it. Prove it. When we release the consciousness that is trapped inside of each one of all these type of psychological defects, it's increasing our own consciousness right there in the fifth dimension. There is a long process full of infinite patience to really feel and see the change. Not only here, with our own inner vibration on how we feel daily in this physical world, but also right there over there in the fifth dimension, right? And in the rest of the higher dimensions of our universe. All starts with self-observation to seriously know ourselves. If we don't know ourselves, we won't know the rest of the universe and its gods. Right? If we don't learn to transform the impressions, we'll be identified and we'll get involved in all those external events without consciousness, as robots, as zombies, right? Living without consciousness, hypnotized by all those external events, right? As soon as we lose our self-observation, the detection of our own inner reactions, immediately we identify with ourselves. And that's the worst thing we can do in life. Because as soon as we identify with ourselves, we get identified with the rest of the external process of this external world. And we become in unconscious people, in robots, in zombies, being like slaves of those external influences, of those external events of life. Alright? Well, this is the first aspect to analyze. It requires analysis, reflection, right? Self-observation, and the inner petition to our Divine Mother to release that consciousness that will give us deeper reflections, analysis, comprehensions finally. Alright? Now, the second aspect to analyze here comes from this one, from the first one. Alright? Is that accumulation of lust. Unfortunately, it produces frustrated sexual desire. Frustrated sexual desire. And this frustrated sexual desire, that sexual desire of wanting to have sexual intercourses here and not having them immediately brings us into nocturnal pollutions, because probably here we cannot achieve sexual intercourses, but for sure, without a doubt, in the fifth dimension we make reality what wasn't possible here in the third dimension, in this physical world. Specifically for single people, or people that for any reason cannot have sexual intercourse, sexual relationships in their secret lives, all of them without exception. Unfortunately, they have nocturnal pollutions. That spilling of sexual creative energy. Alright? That's why it's with urgency to really put ourselves in a different type of inner state, to perceive life in a different way. And yes, when we talk about lust, the accumulation of lust, that frustrated sexual desire, at the same time, we talk about the different lustful details during the day, from day to day. Well, lots of details, for example, we see sexual images on TV. We listen to some sexual, infrasexual statements, making jokes, for example, with sex, through radio, watching pornography, for example, right? We talk about merchandising. There is also another way to receive and to create more lustful details during the day. That joke of our friends about sex, for example, all those sexual jokes create the accumulation gradually, little by little, of lust, frustrated sexual desire. And yes, sooner than later, we'll have nocturnal pollutions. Or if we have the desire, the yearn of practicing sexual alchemy, we won't control ourselves, right? We won't be able to control ourselves because we've been creating more and more frustrated sexual desires. That's why it's pretty important, this inner state, to seriously govern ourselves and to achieve this essential thing called perfect chastity. For authentic alchemists, authentic esotericists, perfect chastity is something already achieved. Without perfect chastity, which is pureness during sexual intercourses in our sexual life, it means the correct and successful transmutation of the sexual creative energy to create the inner bodies is something which is real. It's a fact on each one of them. Chastity, pureness in sex. Only practicing sexual alchemy and self-observation from instant to instant, with the interpretation to our Divine Mother, analysis, reflection, meditation, will achieve our own self-realization. Right? Probably several times during the day, to continue talking about these lustful details, we'll create more inner fantasies about sex. That inner desire of having sex with a specific person. Right? Those fast thoughts, those ones at the same time are necessary to detect, to immediately delete, eliminate. If we don't organize firstly our mind, it's not possible to achieve the perfect chastity. To organize our mind is necessary to first observe it, to organize it with the power of our own Divine Mother, and for sure we'll feel the change inside. we'll feel how we seriously get a higher vibration. With this tool called psychological death, the vibration increases. The balance of the magnetic centers will be a fact, and gradually we'll be prepared for entering into the mysteries of suprasex. Now, let's study more aspects that make us lose our sexual creative energy. Now, a third aspect, for example, are all those attacks while we're dreaming. Yes, here we talk about the Black Lodge. And when we talk about Black Lodge, we are talking about witches, lizards, or also called wizards or black magicians. At night, while we are resting, we are dreaming at the same time in the fifth dimension. Right there, in that physical world, in that astral world, there is a serious, real possibility of being attacked by any one of the witches, or even black magicians, which basically are the same. Right? We've been teaching here, we've been spreading, sharing some conjurations to protect ourselves, working with our inner parents in order to block all those internal attacks that come from the Black Lodge, witches or black magicians, wizards, authentic and real wizards. Remember, Belilin, we talk about these conjurations. As soon as we turn off lights at night, remember that chant Belilin. Please check conference number 7. In lecture number 7, you'll find the information of this specific conjuration in order to protect yourself. As soon as you make the Belilin, the second one is immediately the magic circle. These are esoteric tools to protect ourselves. In fact, that the other day, as soon as we open our eyes, as soon as we stand up, we'll feel how relaxed we are, how well we feel with ourselves. Alright? Because with the Belilin, this chant will clean the environment of our bedroom, and with the major circle will create that magnetic protection for our bedroom, or for our house, for our apartment, for our physical body, in order to be absolutely protected from witches or wizards. Right? Black Lodge is a reality. White Lodge as well. We want to belong to the White Lodge, right? Right. It's necessary to understand that sooner than later, it's a need to learn how to block all their attacks. Right, the other one is Jupiter. Check again, please. The other conjuration, Jupiter. Because right there, over there, we'll experience, for sure, during the rest of our secret path, of the esoteric path, when we awake our unconsciousness gradually, little by little, in the different three processes of the self-realization, we should learn as soon as we can how to protect ourselves from all these attacks that are a fact, are real. Because the duality, when we talk about good and bad, it does exist. That duality, the good and bad, has as a synthesis authentic wisdom. Right? It's necessary to know that these attacks are something that are a fact. Right? If we protect ourselves every single night, it'll be more and more difficult to have nocturnal pollutions. In fact, divine hierarchies see that if we are helping ourselves with these conjurations, they will protect us right there, over there in the fifth dimension. We are not alone here. We are protected here. We are observed here by all those divine, authentic hierarchies. They know what are we doing here. They know if we are doing all these conjurations, and they may protect us, for sure. Practitioners nowadays are being protected, fully observed. These are practical tools to experience, to put in practice, to apply, to sooner than later see the results, see the type of protections they are. Because obviously witches and black magicians, wizards, they will try for sure to block our inner process, to block, to finish with our own self-realization. An authentic white magician, an authentic spiritual master, an authentic esotericist govern a black magician. Control any attack that comes from Black Lodge. For sure. And remember, all of us without exception, specifically all of us that are interested in the self-realization, all of us have karma by sorcery. Karma by witchcraft. That's why it's normal, it's common to receive all these attacks that come from the Black Lodge, witches, black magicians, because they are asking for that karma. Well, that's why it's necessary to be protected with these conjurations. Right? And specifically those attacks, they occur when we are dreaming at night, while we are experiencing any type of events in the astral world, in that fifth dimension. Another aspect to analyze here is when we talk about food. The different meals we take daily. Try to please avoid sodas, pork, meat. The atoms of pork meat are more than dangerous because they are very heavy. And if we eat pork meat, our sexual desire immediately increases. And we feel that attraction to have sexual intercourses, spilling our sexual creative energy. It is a failure if we honestly want to enter in the mysteries of sex, in sexual alchemy. You may eat any other type of meat, but please do not, well, this is my advice. You have your own free will for sure, I know it. But please do not eat pork meat. Never ever if possible. It produces a violent reaction in your magnetic sexual center. And you feel immediately that inner reaction, that inner violent desire of having sex as soon as possible. This is the worst type of meat if we seriously want to enter in the mysteries of sexual alchemy. Right? Please, no alcohol. No sodas, no alcohol. Right? Eat fruits, vegetables. It's great and a half. Excellent. Fruits and vegetables, great. They are absolutely healthy for our physical body. As soon as you cook any type of meal, your breakfast, your lunch, or your dinner, please, within the next, eaten within the next 2 hours. Within the next 2 hours after cooking any one of these meals, please eat them within the next 2 hours. Because after the next 2 hours, after you cooked any meal, that lunch, that breakfast, that dinner loses immediately their solar atoms. And they become into lunar atoms. Alright? So within the next 2 hours after you cooked any meal, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, please make sure you already ate it. Alright? The solar atoms are present in any one of our meals as soon as we cook it, as soon as we prepare any type of meal. Alright? For example, every single morning, if possible, before your breakfast, try to drink 1 glass of water 1 glass of water with lemon without sugar. With lemon but without sugar. It's great for your physical body. 1 glass of water with lemon but without sugar. 1 or 2 glasses of water with lemon. It'll help you a lot. It'll help you a lot. If you don't want to get fat, for example, to become a fat person, during your breakfast, don't eat eggs. Try to avoid eggs in your breakfast, please. In the morning, this type of food, eggs, are too violent for our physical body. Eat more natural, eat more healthy. Tangerine, oranges, healthy food, please. You can eat without inconvenience, without problem, any type of meat except pork meat. Its atoms are too heavy for your physical body. Alright? So food is essential, is crucial in order to achieve our own self-realization. Right? At the same time, please don't eat too many candies. All that food full of sweet, of sugar, for example, are pretty dangerous for your health, for your physical body. In general, it's necessary to learn to use common sense. If seriously we want to deserve a different type of vibration to finally deserve and achieve our self-realization, food is essential in the process of the secret path, of the esoteric path. Now let's continue. Now, the level of the glass. This is another aspect to control nocturnal pollutions and to control our sexual creative energy when we enter into the practices of the supra-sex, the level of the glass. Well, all of us without exception have a physical glass that keeps and accumulates our sexual creative energy inside. Alright? When we have the glass, the level of the glass, from the middle down, we don't have any inconvenience with our sexual life. But when we accumulate much sexual creative energy from the middle up, there are inconvenience. And immediately, by instinct, we feel attraction to have sexual intercourse as soon as possible. It is something instinctive. And comes from the level of our glass. To keep the level of the glass from the middle down, it's necessary to learn how to practice a respiratory process called pranayama. Pranayama helps us to sublimate our sexual creative energy. To keep the levels of our glass in a decent way, in a decent level. The sublimation of the sexual creative energy, it's a need especially in single people. Sexual creative energy. All right? Now, if we want to sublimate our sexual energy by the ganglion channels, those channels are called Ida and Pingala. These are the names of those internal snakes that have inner and intimate association with Kundalini, with our sexual creative energy. It's necessary to learn how to purify, to sublimate our sexual creative energy, right? So that the sexual alchemy practices will be successful. These inner snakes are a fact inside of each one of us. Ira and Pingala. These are ganglion channels. And all of us without exception, even if we are not interested in the process of the secret path of the self-realization, they do exist in the physical body. This is occult anatomy. These two inner snakes allow us to sublimate the energy through the vital body. This is a respiratory process in which also we are going to pronounce a mantra. The mantra is Ham mentally Sach, S-A-H, Sach verbally. Ham is only in a mental way, mentally, and Sach should be verbal. Now, let's start the explanation of this respiratory process, of this breathing process. Having this introduction, let's start the explanation of the exercise. Well, let's see. Right here, in our genitals, in our sexual apparatus, we men, we have our testicles. They are intimately associated with our sexual glands. our sexual glands, right? A bit above our testicles. Women are women, yes. In the case of women, are their ovaries. In their ovaries, above their ovaries and above testicles, you have the sexual center, sexual magnetic center, instinctive center at the level of the sacrum bone, then the emotional center, then the intellectual center, motor center, our pineal gland, and right here approximately our nostrils. We'll work here with our conscious imagination, concentration, and yes, imagining our magnetic centers, our sexual creative energy, our nostrils, and the mantra comes out. Remember, let's put it here. Ham, mentally, sat, verbally. Alright? We men, well, let's see. These are approximately here our nostrils. For us men, we start this respiratory process, this breathing process, covering our left nostril, right? And we imagine at the same time that we are covering our left nostril, we make an inhalation, and mentally we start the pronunciation of mantra and ham. We start the inhalation of the air. Obviously, if we cover our left nostril, the inhalation will be through our right nostril, right? But we start inhaling the air by the left testicle. We imagine how this energy goes right here through the sacrum bone, instinctive center. Then how this energy goes like this way, through the intellectual center, then through the motor center this way, and finally arrives to the right nostril all the way up into the brain. During all this movement, all the way up the energy, our sexual energy, we pronounce mentally ham. Okay, we cover with a finger, 1, 2, 3 fingers, our left nostril. We imagine our left testicle, and immediately we start the conscious imagination, inhaling the air, and at the same time, and immediately, yes, remember, that's why it's mental, and this one verbal. We make a fast pause, and immediately we cover our right nostril, imagine that from our right testicle we inhale the sexual energy in the opposite way. Right? Immediately we go the opposite way. We again cover our left nostril. We imagine that from our left testicle the energy goes all the way up, and at the same time during 10 minutes approximately. It's amazing to practice this pranayama during 10 minutes between, from 4 to 6 a.m. in the mornings during only 10 minutes. This is the exercise for us men. Alright, what happened for women? Women start this respiratory process covering their right nostril. And they imagine that from their right ovary, the energy goes all the way up the same way. Mentally, the same pronunciation. Alright? The only difference here is the starting point of the exercise. Women start covering our left nostril, and you women start covering your right nostril. You imagine that from your right ovary, you use your conscious imagination, inhale the air through your right nostril, because you already covered your left nostril, and at the same time mentally. Then goes a fast pause. Then you cover your left nostril, women, and you start from the left ovary, conscious imagination, inhalation, and at the same time the mental mantra. Immediately. If possible, during 20 seconds, but okay, due to the capacity of our lung, we know that probably only during, we keep the inhalation during 10 or 15 seconds, okay? That's okay. But if you can keep your pronunciation for 20 seconds, perfect. Right? During 10 minutes, at any time between 4 and 6 a.m. Between 4 and 6 a.m., only during 10 minutes, it'll help us a lot to sublimate our sexual creative energy, to finally control our nocturnal, the possibility of nocturnal pollutions and sexual faults. This is great for single people. All right? We'll feel the different type of vibration that will stay inside of each one of us as soon as we finish this exercise. Remember, for no more than 10 minutes between 4 and 6 a.m. Women start the practice covering our left nostril, and you women start the process, the respiratory process, this exercise, this pranayama, covering your right nostril. Right? Well, another aspect to understand. Now, places. If we should go any time of our lives to a cemetery, right, to a church, to a hotel, to the cinema, for example, there are too many larvae. A lot of larvae right there in these places. Just put a bit of sulfur in the front of your shoes inside of your shoes, but in front of them, a bit of sulfur. Obviously, before going to those places, before entering to those places in your house, put a bit of sulfur inside of your shoes, but in front of them, and acting that way, all those larvae won't stick in your magnetic field, in your aura, but only in your shoes, right? They will stay, all those larvae, they will stay in your shoes. Right? So then when you arrive at your house or to your apartment, you take off your shoes, you let them out of the door. Before entering to your house, your apartment, you take off your shoes, you let them out, you clean them out, alright? But your magnetic field, your aura, your vital body won't be full of larvae. We go to funerals, to cemeteries, to churches, hotels, cinemas. All those thousands of impressions that have been produced over there are a fact, are something real. Right? If you check again that conference number 7, that lecture number 7, there will be not only the conjurations, but also the other way to close yourself when you go outside to your work, to visit a relative, or to go to any place like these ones. Right? Magnetically is necessary for our own good to learn how to close ourselves energetically, magnetically. Alright? But also at the same time, please put a bit of sulfur in the front of your shoes. All those larvae won't invade, won't be in your vital body. They will stay in your shoes, on your shoes, but never in your magnetic field, in your aura. Those larvae will contaminate your vital body, your aura. And all those larvae will work in the 5th dimension to cause you to produce an erotic dream, to finally live an nocturnal pollution. Right? That cross called pentalpha in lecture number 7, please search lecture number 7, the one of conjurations, with those movements and words, Klim Krishnaya, Govindaya, Gopihana, Vaya Vaya Swaha, is the way to close yourself. And you'll get it, you'll find it in lecture number 7. And at the same time, please put a bit of sulfur in your shoes, in front of them but inside. Right? That's all. Now, the other aspect to control and to don't have sexual faults, for example, is lack of concentration during our sexual alchemy practices. Lack of concentration. Due to lack of concentration, we'll have sexual faults, even in our suprasexual intercourses, in our processes of sexual alchemy. Right? It's essential, something with urgency, to never forget the inner petition to our inner parents, that pray to our inner parents before starting our sexual practice, our suprasexual practice, the inner petition to our inner parents. Mentally, from the bottom of our hearts, before having the sexual connection, remember to pray to your inner parents. Number 2, the conjurations. Conjurations are essential and a half, because Black Lodge, wizards, witches will attack us, will try to attack ourselves, to attack us while we are working suprasexually, while we are practicing sexual alchemy. Number 1, belly lean. Again and again and all over again, please check lecture number 7. Next one, magic circle. And you'll be protected of any attack of the Black Lodge, of all those black magicians, witches. Alright? All movements during the suprasexual practice, during the sexual alchemy practice, all movements should be soft. In order to don't get excited. Not too much. Right? Concentration on only the transmutation of your own sexual alchemy. Alright? Concentration. Focus. Each one of the members during their sexual alchemy practices. Focused, each one of them on their own energy, genitals, vertebral columns, and brain. That's why is that here we advise to please turn off the lights. For all your sexual alchemy practices, please remember to always turn off the lights. to have more concentration, to work more on your own energy, on your with your own genitals, energy, vertebral column, and brain. All right, because probably the physical body of our couple will be a distraction for us. It's necessary to only be concentrated in our own energy, working with our own vertebrae, brain, and so on. Best hours to practice sexual alchemy are between 1 and 5 a.m. These are the best hours to be more focused while we are practicing sexual alchemy. If possible between 1 and 5, during the first stages of our sexual intercourses of sexual alchemy, we will practice during no more than 10 minutes, for example, 5-10 minutes, all right? Remember that this is just only once per day, only once per day. Each 24 hours, we may practice sexual alchemy if we want, right? The first months, 5-10 minutes of transmutation of the sexual creative energy. After the first semester of the first year, okay, 10-15 minutes. Each couple makes its own decision on how they want to increase the time of the practice. Right? But yes, it's necessary to understand, to accept that for sure during the first stages of our sexual alchemy practices, of our sexual alchemy process, we don't control, we don't govern ourselves wisely. Alright? Yes, that's why it's better to practice only 5-10 minutes, no more than that, during the first stages, months of practicing sexual alchemy. Lack of concentration. Remember to use your conscious imagination. How your energy goes all the way up through your vertebral column, gradually, little by little. Learn to imagine better and better and better each time more your golden cord, right? And this is a long process. To purify each time better our practices of sexual alchemy, right? Next one, penultimate aspect to analyze and to comprehend, to reflect on. Well, menstruation. As soon as the process of menstruation starts, we can't, or much better, we shouldn't hug or kiss our couple. The energy of women when they are in this process, the energy of women goes into involution. The women's energy goes into involution. And during that week, during all that week, there are not only 3, 4, or 5 days, but 1 week, they produce too many larvae. Alright? That's why it's better to don't hug or even kiss our couple because their energy are in involution. And that's why they produce too many larvae. And all those larvae attracts men into an involution process as well. Alright? That's why it's absolutely dangerous. In fact, when women are in this process, it's better that they don't sleep on the same bed that they've been practicing sexual alchemy with their men, with their guy, with their couple. Alright? Please, women, if possible, sleep in other room. Sleep in other room. Because unfortunately your energy full of larvae attracts male energy into involution as well. That's why it's better to sleep in other room, if possible, please. But never on the same bed you've been sleeping and practicing sexual alchemy during one entire week, please. That's the reason why. Not even hugs, not even kisses. Alright? It's for your own good, couples. It's for your own good. Please analyze it. Reflect on it, please. Alright? Last aspect to reflect on, to analyze, is caresses without practice, sexual practice. Right? When we start passionate kisses, all those heavy caresses with our couple, our sexual creative energy goes in an evolution process. Right? But if all those caresses don't finish in a suprasexual practice, immediately that energy goes in involution. And the energy, the sexual energy, is contaminated due to the fact that never existed a sexual practice. Alright? Yes, you may hug or kiss without much passion your couple. Yes, you can hug your couple, you can kiss your couple. But when too excited and you don't finish all those caresses with a suprasexual practice, immediately your energy goes into an involution process. Your energy gets contaminated immediately. And when you go at night, sleeping or experiencing your fifth dimension, you have a nocturnal pollution, or if you want to practice later, after 1 or 2 days, or 3, 4, 5 hours later, have a sexual fault.